Rana Sanga was born to Rana Rai Mull and his queen Rut in Khanwa on 12 April 1482. Even as a child he was brave, ambitious and fiercely competitive, with his older brothers Prithvi Raj and Jai Mull wanting to one day become the ruler of Mewar. One day while the three brothers were discussing their future prospects, they unanimously decided to entrust their future to an omen and soon paid visit to the Charni Devi temple. Prithvi Raj and Jai Mull seated themselves on a pallet and Sanga took his seat on the panther hide lying on the floor. There, the priestess pointed to the panther hide as the decisive omen of sovereignty of Mewar to Sanga. Hearing this, Prithvi Raj drew his sword and attacked Sanga, who was unwilling to attack him back, and thus to save his own life, Sanga fled the scene after losing an eye. He somehow reached Mewar and passed a few days there before heading towards Ajmer. He purchased a horse and weapons and took service with Rao Karam Chand, who was the Permar chief of Srinagar near Ajmer and had a following of about 3,000 Rajputs. After coming to know that the young prince of Chittor was serving him, Rao treated him with due respect and consideration and kept him in his protection. Sanga married the daughter of Rao, the news of which reached Prithvi Raj, thereby revealing Sanga's whereabouts. He was determined to visit Rao Karam Chand with vengeance for daring to give protection to Sanga in defiance of his threats. The fates, however, willed otherwise, and he was treacherously poisoned by his own brother-in-law. The shock of Prithvi Raj's death shattered Rai Mull, who grievously mourned the loss of his son and fell ill. A messenger was sent to Karam Chand with the news, and thus Sanga returned to Chittor at long last. Rai Mull, however, did not survive for long and died in 1508, enabling Sanga to ascend the throne of Mewar on 4 May 1508. At this juncture, Rajputana as a whole was much stronger politically than it had been since the advent of the Afghan power in India, and Mewar was the most powerful of the principalities in northern India. This unique position was attained on account of a succession of strong rulers, timely discovery of valuable mines within the kingdom, and in addition, the central authority in Delhi had lost its position, and it was not strong enough to keep Mewar under control. Shortly after Sanga's accession, Nasiruddin Shah of Malwa died and a struggle for the throne took place among his sons. Mahmud Shah II secured the throne with the assistance of a powerful Rajput chieftain, Maydini Rai, who defeated the armies of Delhi and Gujarat Sultanates, which had attacked Malwa in alliance with the pretenders to the throne. Around the same time, two cousins, Bur Mull and Rai Mull, vied for the rule of Sirohi, and Sultan of Gujarat sided with the former and Sanga with the latter by marrying his daughter to Rai Mull. This brought Mewar and Gujarat into direct conflict, and by 1517 many small battles were fought between the two sides, which ultimately resulted in Mewar's victory and restoration of power in the hands of Rai Mull. In the same year, Sikandar Lodi died, and the throne of Delhi passed on to his son Ibrahim Lodi. Until that point, Sanga had aggressively taken advantage of the weakened Delhi Sultanate and gained territory at their expense. Hence, immediately after consolidating his power, Ibrahim Lodi attacked Mewar to check its expansion, but was defeated badly and taken prisoner at the Battle of Katoli. He had to pay a huge ransom to secure his release. In this battle, Sanga lost an arm and an arrow stuck his leg. In the Malwa, Mahmud Shah grew jealous of Maydini Rai's influence and started considering him a threat. In his madness, he fled to Gujarat and appealed to Muzaffar Shah to attack Malwa, which he was happy to oblige to, leaving Maydini Rai to turn to Sanga for assistance. Sanga advanced into Gujarat, wary of being drawn into an unwanted conflict, and Muzaffar Shah, having sent a detachment of his army to intercept Sanga, pressed on the siege at Malwa, which ultimately fell into his hands in 1518. Finding that there was now no necessity for further advance, Sanga retraced his steps to his own kingdom. After capturing Malwa once again and driving out Maydini Rai, Mahmud Shah's desires of teaching Mewar a lesson grew, and he attacked Mewar in 1519. But his army was completely routed at Gugron, and he himself was taken a prisoner. He was taken to Chittor where he had to stay for 6 months and was only allowed to return to Malwa after he signed a treaty and paid a large war indemnity. Thus, while Mewar's conflict with Malwa was being brought to a conclusion, Ibrahim Lodi attacked Mewar once again to seek revenge for the humiliation he suffered previously. The two armies met near Dholpur, with the result being the same as before. Delhi's army was swept away by the wave of ferocious Rajput assault. With this victory, many new regions were added to the kingdom of Mewar, Chanderi being one of them, and it was bestowed upon Maidinirai by Sanga. By the beginning of 1520, Sanga had subjugated the sultanates of Delhi and Malwa, but Gujarat continued to meddle into the matters of Sirohi and was still a threat to Mewar. In addition, an officer of Muzaffar Shah insulted Sanga, who was informed of the same. To defend his honor, Sanga marched with a large army into Gujarat and drove that officer out of Gujarat, in the process adding new regions to his ever-expanding kingdom. To punish this act of aggression by Sanga, Muzaffar Shah sent a large army to attack Mewar in the spring of 1521, which laid siege to Mandsaur at the southern frontier of Mewar. Mahmud Shah also joined the Gujarat army in the hopes of satisfying his vengeance against Mewar. Meanwhile, Sanga also advanced and encamped with his army nearby, waiting for the perfect moment to attack while receiving reinforcements. He promised Mahmud Shah the release of his son, who was a hostage in Mewar since the Battle of Gugrong. Meanwhile, growing tension among the officers of the Gujarat army after the failure to capture Mandsaur and growing numbers in the Sanga's camp made them to issue for terms of peace to Sanga, which were readily accepted. This campaign turned out to be a failure for Muzaffar Shah and a huge diplomatic victory for Sanga. Thus, with the culmination of a series of successes against his neighbors, the boundaries of Mewar were considerably extended. Even the chiefs of Marwar and Umbar acknowledged its allegiance. But the significance of Sanga's successes was more than the mere annexations of lands. In getting the better of his rivals, Sanga had secured for himself the leading position in northern India and, in inflicting a crushing defeat upon the occupant of the imperial throne at Delhi, he advanced a claim upon that throne itself. It marked the beginning of Mewar's imperial ambition. During the years that followed, Sanga sought to materialize this ambition both by diplomatic means and military efforts. Thus, all the cards were carefully put in place for the inevitable encounter that was to happen. We are working on bringing many more such stories to you in the future. Subscribe to our channel to not miss out on them. And consider liking and commenting on this video. Until next time.